Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark continue to break records, and today I'm going to talk about why the Rookie of the Year battle may not be as straightforward as what some people are hoping and trying to present it to be, because Angel Reese is making her case. We're also going to look at an update on the Chicago Sky's training facility situation and some words from Teresa Weatherspoon on what is determining the Chicago Sky's success. All that plus more right after this.
Welcome to Chicago Sky Central, and here's your host, Haize.
What's going on, Sky fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Sky Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Sky related. I'm the host there, Haize. More importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Chicago Sky Pod on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that being said, let's go ahead and get into this content for today, y'all. So I want to start off talking about just the right now, the Sky's new practice facility. I want to kind of get this out the way. I know everybody wants the Rookie of the Year talking things like that. Well, Sky co-owner Nadia Rawlinson came out and update the team in April initially, saying that they were looking to have an announcement by the start of the season. That's coming past. But General Manager Jeff Pagliosha actually said something, spoke on it, and said this, that there is a delay, but right now it does not indicate where the facility stands in the Sky's list of priorities. And, saying this will be the hope and plan because of the impact it can have on free agency as far as getting that done. And I know a lot of people are, when you look at the way the season started with all the things of, Angel Reese's introductory press conference, and then when people found out that the Chicago Sky actually practiced at a public facility, is they asked when the Sky were going to get the facility done. And the fact that it's not broken ground yet, it has some people worried on if it's actually going to happen. The Seattle Storm, this is kind of what started this off. The Sky were actually practicing at the Seattle Storm's facility. And the store that facility, which everybody has raved about what that facility is and has brought to that Seattle Storm team, they didn't break ground until March. It was opened in April. So that's how quick of a turnaround it could be for this. So the fact that the Sky have not followed up on their initial claims of getting something announced before the start of the season, it doesn't mean that things aren't getting done in the background, and it does not mean that those things are going to eventually get done when it's all said and done as well. But I just wanted to get out the way because now we're about to get into the shits. Angel Reese, as everybody I'm sure knows by this part, has broke Candace Parker's record as far as most consecutive double-doubles, and doing so in a game against the Seattle Storm in which Angel Reese was not just being herself, getting 27 and 10, but also hitting 2 threes, going 2 of 2 from three-point range in that game. As a matter of fact, over the Sky's last 2 games, Angel Reese has gone 2 of 3 from the three-point line. Very small sample size, and no way am I saying that she's all of a sudden going to start draining threes, but we're seeing what we've been asking for, what we started off the season saying was going to come. Angel Reese has consistently added to her game day in and day out, and she is so far ahead of where she ended where she started off the season with having a bit of a rocky start. You look at, of course, the double-double streak, but Angel Reese is doing everything that the Chicago Sky have needed her to do. She stepped up both as a vocal leader and everything like that, and now she's starting to get the notice, especially with breaking records of, can she legitimately make this a race for Rookie of the Year, where a lot of people came in and thought that it was just going to go to Caitlin Clark because of the hype, because of the name, and because of Caitlin Clark's skill. Who, shout out to Caitlin Clark, who just got also set a WNBA record, becoming the first rookie to get a triple-double ever in WNBA history. Now she, of course, holds the record as the youngest player in the WNBA to get a triple-double. You guys know, I'm a student of the game first. I'm not somebody that thinks that just because Angel Reese is on my team, and I love Angel Reese, and I'm always going to support and defend Angel Reese, that it means I have to knock Caitlin Clark to do so. Angel Reese's greatness stands out on its own. I don't have to knock anybody to talk about and support just how good Angel Reese has been and how good she's going to continue to be for the Chicago Sky team. And that's, I think, makes the difference, is that despite what Caitlin Clark is doing, both the good and the bad, Angel Reese is right up there. And Monica McNutt had a very interesting take when it came down to the Rookie of the Year debate, saying this: my Rookie of the Year is going to go based on the standings. This is how you have an opportunity to measure impact. And the Sky right now are in the playoffs, so you'd have to give the nod, in my mind, to Angel Reese. Now, that was a little bit early. I think that was said on July 5th, I believe is when she said that. But when it comes down to it, yes, the impact that you have when your team winning should be a part of dictating also in that Rookie of the Year debate, in my opinion, especially when you have the Indiana Fever and the Chicago Sky, which are right there. Yes, the Fever have more wins technically at 9, but they have a smaller winning percentage because they've played more games than the Sky. And I think that, going through the next 10 days of this season before we go into the All-Star break, when we come out of after this month-long All-Star Olympic break, it should be dictated by the wins. Not just dictated, of course, your own performance in your team wins, but we have to factor in how the success of the team overall in that. And the Sky were a team that weren't expected to do a whole hell of a lot. But even outside of that, the way that Angel Reese has played and the way that she's adapted and debunking that whole narrative of, oh, she wouldn't have a double-double if it wasn't off her own misses. Y'all go and check the game log. And she's never only gotten a double-double just because of her own misses. So yes, she's gotten some of her own misses. And yes, she needs to shoot a field goal percentage, which she's been doing. If you look at it, out of the last like 6 games, I think 5 or 6 games, she's only had one game where she shot the ball below 45%. So, yes, it still needs to be refined, things like that. But Angel Reese continues to develop and continues to show and grow. And as the Sky team also hopefully starts playing better and more consistent basketball, wins should be a factor in determining Rookie of the Year, more than just hype, more than just narrative, more than just, and of course, personal performance is still the key, the end-all, be-all, right? But I think you also have to factor in that success that the team's having and how these respective rookies are also adding into their team's success. I think that's something that you have to view as well. But hearing and seeing what Angel Reese has done, her continue to make history, her confidence growing, she took one of those 3-point shots against the Storm with no hesitation. And that's what you want to see. 12 consecutive double-doubles is great. And I said broke earlier. She actually ties the record for Candace Parker, which Candace Parker's was done over multiple seasons. Angel Reese has done this within one season. And so she's put herself already in the conversation of greats in the WNBA. And now she just got to continue to refine that game. We want to see that part keep going forward. And as she keeps developing that, we're going to see an Angel Reese that I think is going to shock, surprise, and put that city on her back, because we know what Angel Reese can be in those times. So as she continues to make history, yeah, you're goddamn right, Angel Reese deserves to be in that conversation for Rookie of the Year, and people need to stop disrespecting Angel. It's going to keep helping. Matter of fact, no, keep the disrespect coming. You know why? Because it makes it even that much sweeter when she continues to prove y'all wrong on your dumbass narratives when it comes to this woman who is just out there playing the game of basketball and giving passion and effort and drive to do that. And with that said as well, we got to acknowledge in this as well, Chennedy Carter. I said on the last time that I did one of these daily episodes is that, Camila Cardoso and Angel Reese, of course, in being drafted and where they were drafted, are absolutely looked at as the cornerstones of the Chicago Sky's rebuild. And Angel Reese, who, she started off her season healthy, whereas Camila Cardoso had to adapt and come back from injury and things like that. And Angel was playing great. And Camila has shown her flashes. There have been some things about Camila's game that you see she's refining and working through. But as much as these two ladies are looked at as the future of the Chicago Sky, we also have to start putting Chennedy Carter in there, because Chennedy Carter, at still being extremely young at 25 herself, especially in the league where we're seeing women play into their late 30s, Chennedy Carter deserves to be in there as mentioned as one of these now cornerstones that you're building around. Is she perfect? No. And by no stretch of the imagination. She still has some things defensively that absolutely frustrate me at times. I won't lie. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything for anybody, right? She absolutely frustrates me with some of the things she does defensively, and you would like to see her become a more reliable three-point shooter. But whereas this season started off with Marina Mabry being the leading scorer for the Chicago Sky, we now see a time where Marina Mabry is the third leading scorer, and she sucked. Like, she had 2 games where Marina Mabry, after this initial starting lineup change, where it looked like, okay, we're going to start seeing the best version of Marina. I can't wait to see that. Chennedy Carter has been consistent and has gotten better right along with Angel Reese. Basically every single stage and phase of this season, she's gotten better. Now leading the team in scoring with 16 points per game that she's leading the team in scoring in. Still low in assists, especially for a starting guard. That is what it is. She's not a point guard. Nobody's ever tried to present her as a traditional point guard. And she's starting to also refine her game as far as her shooting splits. Much like with Angel, there's times where Chennedy Carter doesn't necessarily take the best shots, and some of that is because we need her to take those big shots. But Chennedy Carter has so much stepped up and just is revamping the way that her career was looked at. Now in her 5th season in the WNBA, after being a 4th overall pick to Atlanta on top of that, and kind of falling out of their rotation immediately after her rookie year, Chennedy Carter has found a home in Chicago. And that's what it feels like. She is home now here. And as that home continues to develop for her as well, we start seeing Chennedy get more and more comfortable in this. In basketball, one of the best things that you can have in basketball is the synergy between a big and a guard. That's just that it's fundamental. You could build so much off of having a high-level guard and a high-level big, whether that be your power forward or that be your center. Chennedy Carter and Angel Reese, the Ken and Barbie, right, have developed so much chemistry together that we're starting to see you can't have one of these ladies off the court. You got to keep one of them on the court at almost all times, and your best basketball is coming in a lot of ways when they're on the court together. And so that is something that you want to continue to develop, and you have to identify. If you want to be a good team in this league, you have to identify. What did I say earlier about in the season is that I wanted to see Coach Spoon identify mismatches and identify angles that put her lineups in better positions. And it's evident. It's starting to become very well evident that it's simple. We are a better team with Chennedy Carter and Angel Reese on the court together. Defensively, there's still some shaky things there, like I said, with Chennedy that I'm not going to act like aren't there. But outside of that, like it's better when they're on the court, and they are developing such a chemistry. You saw what they did. They almost single-handedly, well, double-handedly together, whatever, propelled the Chicago Sky to that win. And when you look at some of the best lineups with Chennedy Carter in it, they have Angel Reese in them as well. The two best lineups with Chennedy Carter. One is Lindsey Allen, Chennedy Carter, Marina Mabrey, Angel Reese, Elizabeth Williams. Of course, that lineup is gone. That lineup was a plus 37. You look at now the lineup with Chennedy Carter, Diamond, Dana Evans, Isabel Harrison, and Angel Reese, plus 17 when they're on the court together, which is surprising considering that Isabel Harrison is kind of up and down in minutes. Dana Evans is up and down in production as well. But you got to look at that. And then Angel Reese, Chennedy Carter, Camila Cardoso, Marina Mabrey, and Lindsey Allen, the starting 5, basically, they are still plus 13 in their minutes played when that lineup was on the court together. Angel Reese, Chennedy Carter, Lindsey Allen in a lot of ways, because you heard her name in a lot of those lineups also. There's something there with that, and I'm glad to see that Coach Spoon is starting to exploit that a little bit more and use that against for mismatches against other teams. And that's what's going to put your team in the best place possible to really start extending some things. So really good to see that. I wanted to spend some time as well. I don't want to overlook Chennedy Carter and what she's meant for this team, because she's been playing amazingly well also. And then lastly, before we go, I want to talk about some of the comments from Coach Spoon on how they're measuring success. Coach Spoon said this: success is how we're trying to build. It's how we're growing every day, the work we're putting in every day with the excitement and fun and love for one another. We are thinking as champions. That says it all. We recognize that this team has been in the postseason. We're right there right now. We just have to make sure that we take care of ourselves. And then I love how she finishes this. I don't believe in stepping in and talking about a 2 or 3 year plan, because guess how they're going to practice and play? They will practice inside a 2 or 3 plan instead of the now. And so basically what she's saying that I take away from that is she's not talking about development. She's not talking about let's play and practice so we can get something out of you 2 or 3 years later. No, it's how do we get the best out of you now? How do we compete now? And that is what this Chicago Sky team has shown. And yeah, they still have their issues because the talent is a thing. You can't overlook that. They are a team that is developing that talent. And you have rookies, they're developing play style. We have some really big issues on this team as far as defense at time, no 3-point shooting consistently at all, right? Those type of things. But you are building the right mindset and mentality in these young ladies. And like I said, you got 3 building blocks at the bare minimum. 3. You got that at the bare minimum in a WNBA where, you know, the rosters are shorter, things like that. Having 3 players that you can say are absolute building blocks for you in Camila, Angel, and Chennedy Carter, and it seems like you're going to be able to keep your own pick this year as well. It's about having those cornerstones, and then you got to make a decision. And unfortunately, players that initially, you know, thought was going to be part of that, Marina Mabrey, like they're just not adjusting well. And so the Sky are going to have to find some different angles. We lost Elizabeth Williams, which does suck. Isabel Harrison still kind of coming out of that. Diamond's playing better at times. Dana is kind of getting back in and out of playing well. But you got 3 building blocks for yourself. And you got 3 players that you absolutely know that you can build with. And that is a big thing in setting this off. But let's make no mistake about it. From the words of Teresa Weatherspoon, they're not just looking at 2 or 3 years down the road. They're looking at how they can win the most games now. And that's something that's important. And as we go forth, it is game day, as the Chicago Sky do have a game going on tonight, which will be, of course, live to break down things like that. That goes down 5 p.m. Chicago time, 6 p.m. Eastern, in which we face off against the Seattle Storm again. It's going to be a fun day. It's going to be a fun game. And shout out to what the Chicago Sky have been able to accomplish in the season where many people didn't give the Sky. Keep in mind, the Sky were picked by a lot of outlets to be 12th in the WNBA this season, or 11th. That's toward the bottom of the league. We're definitely not there. We're not higher up, but we're definitely not there, and we're competing for a playoff spot. And this is a Sky team with some heart and some fight. But guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you guys are following the show at Chicago Sky Pod. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, ChicagoSkyCentral@gmail.com. And I know I missed some mailbags. They're too far gone now. We're going to reset the deck, start over. I want to hear from those voicemails. Nate, Vaughn, everybody, I want to hear from you guys. So get those voicemails in or text messages at 773-270-2799. We're the number one spot for everything Chicago Sky related. That's thanks to you guys. And I'll see you guys the next time we go to Skytown. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.